Don't use print on demand unless you're one of the types of brands that I'm going to be talking about in this video. There are very big pros and cons to using print on demand versus using an inventory-based business. And to be completely honest with you, most people that get into print on demand do it for the money and they don't understand the finer details that go into creating a successful print on demand business. So this video here is going to be like reading the fine print on print on demand. And I'm going to lay out for you the very specific types of businesses that can truly thrive with print on demand, flourish, and run a very profitable business. So I hope you enjoy. Before we get into it here, Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd's a logo maker tool. You type in the name of the logo that you want, hit enter, thousands of logos will come up. You choose the logo that you like, then you can edit and refine that logo as long as you want for free until it's perfect. I made this Hundo P design for my own clothing brand using BrandCrowd. If you're interested, head over to brandcrowd.com/apparel success and you can get up to 66% off at checkout. All right, so when it comes to print on demand, there's so many different ways that you could use it. You could be one of those companies that's trying to sell on Etsy, where you see what's trending, you see what people want, and you create products that's perfectly for what people are looking for. And that may be in a bunch of different niches at the same time, just to try and sell some products to hustle and to make some money. Now, another purpose for print on demand is when you actually have a clothing brand. And maybe you don't want to invest in a ton of inventory. Maybe you don't want to be handling all of the orders, packing them all and shipping them out and dealing with all of that. And you just want to focus on the marketing of your brand. Well, I want to share with you some really important nuances that you just need to know in order to be successful running a print on demand business. The first thing is that print on demand works really well for lifestyle brands, where the innovation of your clothing brand isn't in the product quality, it's in the actual brand concept itself. Print on demand is like the perfect scenario for clothing brands that are selling regular generic hoodies, t-shirts, tanks, things that don't have cut and sew and these little details that you need to throw into it, where the innovation of your brand is actually more in maybe the designs that you're putting on the clothing themselves, or in the actual brand concept. Maybe you found like a blue ocean market and you have a target market that you're going after that's never really been gone after before, but you can still offer them value through regular hoodies, regular t-shirts, regular tanks, and you just need someone to print that for you. Print on demand is not an option for clothing brands that are trying to innovate inside of the products themselves. You can't run a successful print on demand business if you're looking to do all these little customizations on your clothing and to compete in a space where you're trying to show how great your product quality is. That's not what print on demand is really all about. Print on demand works really great for clothing brands basically just like mine. I run a Canadian lifestyle brand called K-Bud Apparel, and we haven't used print on demand. We've been shipping all of our orders for the past 8 years, working with fulfillment companies, but print on demand would actually work great for a brand just like mine, where we do sell hoodies, tees, tanks, hats, things that you can get made that are just sort of regular products with cool designs that are going after a very specific niche. But the second we want to offer like different cuts and shapes and maybe like a custom leather jacket with specific embroideries in different places, you can't use print on demand for that, and you should probably go find a cut and sew manufacturer. Understanding the pros and cons of print on demand is so important here. The pros are that you're way more flexible. You're gonna have way more free cash. You're not gonna be tying up all of your cash and inventory, taking all of this risk and having all of this overhead. You also won't need to spend all of your time packing and fulfilling orders. Somebody else is gonna do that for you. But the cons are that you lose that control. You lose that personal touch that you can put into every single package, all of the little customizations that you can do with your products to make your product quality better. You also lose a lot of control when it comes to your shipping times and getting your products to your customers, where it's all within your control. When you're relying on print on demand, sometimes it might take a lot longer to get your products to your customers. Not to mention, if you actually make your own clothing and ship it out yourself, you'll likely have better profit margins than if you go the print on demand route, where there's just more fees involved doing that. But this leads perfectly into the next part that you just need to know here with print on demand, which is, what is the vision of your brand and your company? Are you trying to build equity into your brand so that you can eventually sell it for like 10 or $20 million? In which case, if that's your vision, you don't necessarily need to make profit and need to make money now. You can invest all of your profits back into your brand, into inventory, and to grow it, to make sure that that customer experience is really good, so that you have those repeat customers in the future, and so that you're actually building up a brand that you may be eventually able to sell 5-10 years from now. If that's your vision, that's totally cool. It may be best for you then to not use print on demand, to actually build that brand and invest in your clothing brand and create the best product quality, give your customers the best possible customer experience that you have, because all of that matters in 5 years from now, to hang on to all of those customers and to have that for life. If you're trying to do that and you're running a print on demand business, it might be a little bit harder, because with print on demand, you lose that control over your customer's experience, and you lose that control over all of the little details that are going into your brand. On the other hand, maybe your vision for your company is you want to make some money right now. You don't want all of the risk of investing in inventory that may or may not sell into the future. You don't want to be spending all of your time packing and fulfilling orders, and you just want to make some money. Well, then print on demand sounds more like a great route for you. Sure, your profit margins might take a little hit because you're not making all of those products through a third-party manufacturer and getting them made at a nice low cost, but you're still going to be able to see a lot more of the cash that you do make, because when you're running an inventory-based business, you end up in this infinite game of having to keep up with demand, to order more inventory, and as your demand increases and as more and more people are buying your brand, you have to invest in more and more inventory, which ties up a lot of your cash, and it makes it really hard to pull any money out of your clothing brand at all. And with print on demand, when you're not sitting on any inventory, any sales that you do get, the profit margins might be thinner, but at least you can just take that cash and use it for whatever you want. So print on demand is a much more quick way to make some money right now if that's what you're looking to do. I want to be straight up with you here. I've worked with thousands of other brands online, and I'm starting to realize 8 years in that some of the best advice I can give to new brands that are starting up is to get started with print on demand. The reason why I say this is because most clothing brands, they're just slapping some logos, slapping some designs on t-shirts, on hoodies, on tanks, and that's what they're trying to do. And I've heard so many times clothing brands that are just stuck with inventory, they're not really able to move it, they're not able to sell it, and they would have been better off just getting started with print on demand, having those mock-ups on their website, and when those orders come in, they get sent out by a third party. As you build up your brand, you can just switch your stuff over to carrying all of that in-house, but at least it eliminates the risk at the beginning. I hate seeing new companies start up where they invest in all of this money and they lose it all into inventory that's just not selling because they don't have any proof of concept yet, and they got just overly excited when they first started. Now, that being said, I want you to understand that there is nuances to this. It does depend on the type of brand that you're trying to start up. If you have a lot of customizations in your clothing, if that's the route that you're going, then you probably shouldn't do print on demand. You should probably get all of that made really nice somewhere where it's got all those little customizations on it. But I just think that for most brands that are just selling hoodies, tees, and tanks, you don't need to hold on to your inventory. You can actually get somebody else to do that for you if that's what you want to do. If you're running any type of clothing company, I highly recommend you check out the Apparel Success Mastermind. It's a monthly subscription where we do live streams every single month, a Zoom call with all of the group members. You get all of my courses in there. There's a community of other clothing brand owners and apparel entrepreneurs in there, all helping each other and answering each other's questions. You can learn more at apparelsuccessmastermind.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.